I had been married to the aloof female CEO Willow for 3 years, but a car accident caused my memory to return to the time before our marriage. Now, lying in a hospital bed, staring at the stunning yet cold-faced woman before me, I couldn't believe she was my wife. I had even given up the opportunity to further my studies in the United States just to pursue her, content to be an ordinary doctor in an ordinary hospital. Yet, the more I thought about it, the more furious I became. Just as I was ready to end this simp-like marriage, the ice-cold CEO unexpectedly lost her composure in public, desperately begging me not to leave. Chapter 1. Dr. Wong, you're awake. The blinding white light made me squint in discomfort. A nurse's excited voice rang in my ears. I stared blankly at my surroundings, my head pounding as if struck by a heavy hammer. Where am I? You're in the hospital. 3 days ago, you were in a car accident and have been unconscious until now, the nurse said as she checked the instruments. I'll go inform Lawyer Liu right away. Lawyer Liu, I frowned, struggling to recall, but drew a complete blank. 10 minutes later, a woman in a haute couture suit pushed open the door. Her makeup was flawless, her features cold and elegant, yet faint shadows of exhaustion lingered under her eyes. You've finally woken up. She stood by my bed, her tone as flat as if commenting on the weather. I studied her, the stranger who somehow felt familiar, and asked, and you are? She froze for a moment, then frowned. George, don't play games with me. Even more confused, I asked, what game? I really don't know you. Her expression changed. She quickly stepped closer, staring intently into my eyes. You really don't remember me? Sorry, should I? I'm Willow, your wife. She paused before adding, we've been married for 3 years. Married? 3 years? Shocked, I stared at the icy woman before me. If she truly was my wife, why did she look at me like I was a stranger? The attending doctor soon arrived. After a series of tests, he confirmed I was suffering from traumatic amnesia, having lost nearly 3 years of memory. So, his memory is now stuck 3 years in the past? Willow asked. Yes. According to the results, Dr. Wong's memory is frozen at age 25, the doctor explained, flipping through the records. But this type of amnesia may be temporary. The recovery time varies for each individual. Willow glanced at me, then said to the doctor, I understand. Thank you. Once the doctor left, only the two of us remained in the ward. The atmosphere grew subtle and heavy. Since you are my wife, I asked cautiously, can you tell me what's happened over the past 3 years? Willow sat on the chair by my bed, crossing her long legs gracefully. 3 years ago, we met during a medical malpractice lawsuit. You were an expert witness for the defense. I was the plaintiff's lawyer. After the case ended, we started dating, and half a year later, we got married. That simple. Her explanation sounded far too brief. Yes. She checked her watch and added, I have an important meeting this afternoon. You should rest. Wait, I called out as she prepared to leave. I remember I was supposed to further my studies at Johns Hopkins. Why am I here instead? Her steps faltered. You gave it up. Gave it up, I said in disbelief. That was the opportunity one had dreamed of. She turned around, her gaze complicated. For me, you said you didn't want a long-distance relationship and chose to stay here. I froze. The chance to study at Johns Hopkins was something I had worked years to earn. Would I really have given it up for a woman? Where do I work now? At the municipal hospital, she said softly. Just a regular attending physician. A regular attending physician. 3 years ago, I had already become the youngest associate chief physician at the provincial hospital, with a bright future ahead. I have to get back to work. Willow picked up her bag. Your colleagues will visit you tomorrow. You can ask them about the details. Watching her cold figure disappear through the door, I fell into deep thought. Was this indifferent woman truly my wife? Would I really have given up everything for her? Chapter 2. After being discharged, I returned to what was said to be our home, a luxurious apartment in the city center. Pushing open the door, I was greeted by a minimalist black, white, and gray decor, with not a trace of warmth or life. On the living room photo wall, there were only a handful of pictures of us together, mostly from formal events. Even the wedding photo looked formulaic. You're back. Willow walked out of the study, holding some documents. This is our home. I glanced around, feeling like I had just stepped into a model showroom. Without lifting her head from her papers, she asked, what's wrong? There's no warmth here, I stated bluntly. Only then did she raise her head and say, warmth? George, before you lost your memory, you never cared about such things. Really? I stepped closer to her. Then what did I care about? Work, she replied, making me pause. More precisely, my work. You would help me organize case files, stay with me when I worked overtime, drive me to and from work. I frowned. That sounds more like an assistant than a husband. Willow gave a laugh, but it never reached her eyes. That was your choice. Dinner was takeout. We sat face to face, the atmosphere so awkward it was suffocating. I'll be going back to work at the hospital tomorrow. I finally broke the silence. The municipal hospital isn't demanding 9 to 5, she said calmly. It's just right for taking care of the home. Take care of the home. I looked at this cold, lifeless apartment and wondered what there was to take care of. My phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. George, this is Lillian. I heard you were in a car accident. A concerned female voice came through the line. Lillian. The name sounded familiar. Senior. Don't tell me you don't remember me. Her voice carried both surprise and worry. I'm your junior. We worked together at the provincial hospital for 3 years. So she was a former colleague. Just as I was about to say more, Willow suddenly stood up. I'll be working in the study. After she left, Lillian continued. Senior, have you really lost your memory? Do you still remember the high-risk heart surgery we did together? What surgery? The 10-hour Marfan syndrome surgery. It caused a sensation in the entire hospital. You were the lead surgeon, and I was your assistant. I tried hard to recall. Vague images flickered in my mind. Yes, I remembered that surgery. That was the pinnacle of my career. And then, Lillian fell silent for a moment before speaking again. And then, you got married, resigned, and went to the municipal hospital. Why? Well, senior, some things aren't convenient to say over the phone. How about I visit you at the hospital tomorrow? After hanging up, I sank into deep thought. Clearly, a lot had happened in these 3 years, but my wife seemed unwilling to tell me the truth. Late at night, I scrolled through the photos on my phone. Strangely, there were shockingly few taken in the past 3 years. Most were of Willow at work, with only a handful of me, and even those were snapped at home. I pushed open the study door. Willow was still working, not sleeping yet. She looked up at me briefly and said, almost done. I have a question. I walked up to her desk. Are we really in love? Her hands froze for a second. Then she resumed typing and answered, of course. Then why can't I feel it? Willow finally stopped, raising her eyes to meet mine. George, love has many forms. Not everyone needs sweet words. But, enough. She cut me off. You've lost your memory. It's normal you can't recall certain things. But please, don't question our marriage. Her reaction only deepened my doubts. If we were truly in love, why did our life together feel so cold? Chapter 3. The next day, I returned to the municipal hospital. My colleagues acted strangely, outwardly warm, but whispering behind my back. I vaguely caught words like, what a pity, and, he used to be so outstanding. During rounds, a young doctor whispered to a nurse, Dr. Wang used to be the rising star of the provincial hospital, but now, sigh, for his wife, obviously. The nurse lowered her voice. I heard his wife is really powerful, a partner at a top law firm. So what? She doesn't even take him seriously. Last time at the department dinner, she called him again, and he left without a word. I pretended not to hear, but my heart was unsettled. At noon, Lillian arrived as promised. Senior, her eyes were red. Do you really not remember anything? We found a quiet place to sit. Lillian told me that 3 years ago, I was the youngest associate chief in cardiac surgery at the provincial hospital, and had just secured a fellowship at Johns Hopkins, with a bright future ahead. At that time, you were full of ambition, the idol of all of us. Her eyes shone as she spoke. But after you met Willow, everything changed. How did it change? She's a workaholic. To match her schedule, you gave up your fellowship, resigned from your position, and came here to work as just an ordinary doctor. Lillian bit her lip. Senior, do you know how many people felt it was such a waste? I stayed silent. And also, she hesitated. What else? There's someone named Makoto around her. Her senior from university. They're very close. Rumors spread in the circle. Rumors of what? Nothing. Lillian shook her head. Senior, what's past is past. What matters is, now you have the chance to choose again. After work, I didn't go straight home. Instead, I went to the provincial hospital. Standing at the entrance of the cardiac surgery department, watching the busy doctors and nurses, a powerful sense of familiarity washed over me. This was my battlefield. George, a middle-aged doctor walked up, looking surprised. It really is you. I heard you'd lost your memory. Director Chan. I recognized him instantly. He had been my superior. Come, let's talk in my office. Director Chan told me that back then, when I suddenly resigned, he had tried his best to keep me, but nothing worked. You said you wanted to sacrifice for love. I told you then, career and love can be balanced, but you wouldn't listen. He sighed, adding, you wasted such a great future. By the time I left the provincial hospital, the sky was already dark. When I returned home, Willow was waiting in the living room. Where did you go? She asked. The provincial hospital. I answered honestly. She frowned. What for? To reclaim what belongs to me. I looked her in the eyes. Willow, I'm going back to work at the provincial hospital. No. She refused without even thinking. Why not? Your current job is good, stable, no overtime. You can take care of the family. Take care of what family? I looked around at the cold, lifeless apartment. Take care of your work. Willow stood up. George, you've changed. No, I've just gone back to being myself. I stepped closer. I don't want to be your accessory anymore. Accessory? She sneered. This was your choice. That was the old me. My tone was firm. Now, I'm making a new choice. That night, we had our first fierce quarrel. She accused me of being selfish, of neglecting the family. I accused her of being selfish, of caring only about herself. In the end, she slammed the study door, and I was left lying alone on the living room sofa. Marriage. It shouldn't be like this. Chapter 4. In the days that followed, Willow and I fell into a cold war. She continued leaving early and returning late, while I began preparing for the assessment to return to the provincial hospital. With a 3-year gap, I had to catch up on a lot. That afternoon, the hospital suddenly received an emergency, a patient with an aortic dissection, in critical condition. Dr. Wong, please take a look, a nurse called anxiously. After examining the patient, I immediately realized the severity of the problem. Prepare for surgery, right away. But the municipal hospital doesn't have a cardiac surgery director. The other doctors say the risk is too great. Then I'll do it. I made the decision on the spot. The surgery lasted 4 hours. When I finally walked out of the operating room, the looks in my colleagues' eyes had changed. Dr. Wong, you were incredible. A surgery of this difficulty, most hospitals wouldn't dare to attempt it. Exactly. I've heard even experts at the provincial hospital might not be confident in handling it. As I removed my scrubs, a long-lost sense of achievement surged within me. This was what I was meant to do. When I returned home that evening, I was surprised to find Willow already there, and the dining table was filled with dishes. You cooked these? I asked in surprise. Ordered takeout. She pointed at the containers. Sit. Let's eat and talk. At the table, she spoke first. I heard you performed a major surgery today. Yes. Your colleagues were full of praise for you. She paused. Actually, I've always known you were exceptional. I set down my chopsticks. Then why did you make me give it all up? Willow was silent for a long time before finally saying, because I needed you. Needed me for what? I needed you by my side, to support my career. She met my eyes directly. George, I'm a very selfish person. It was the first time she had been so candid. When you were about to go to the US for your fellowship, I panicked. A year apart, anything could happen. So I convinced you to stay. Convinced. I gave a bitter smile. And how exactly did you convince me? She averted her gaze. With love. So that was it. Leaning back in my chair, I suddenly felt the irony of it all. Willow, do you know what true love is? She looked at me, her eyes slightly lost. It's about fulfillment, not possession. I stood up. If you truly loved me, you would have supported my dream, not killed it. Just then, her phone rang. Hello, Makoto. As she answered, her voice instantly softened. Okay, I understand. See you tomorrow. I watched her coldly as she hung up. Who is Makoto? My senior from university. Also my work partner. She replied casually. That simple. She frowned. What do you mean? Turning toward the bedroom, I said, nothing. I'm tired. Behind me, her voice followed. George, what exactly are you doubting? I stopped, turned, and said, I'm doubting whether this marriage has any reason to exist. In that moment, I clearly saw a flicker of panic flash in her eyes, but almost instantly, she regained her coldness. Think whatever you like. Chapter 5. That weekend, Willow had to attend an important charity banquet and insisted I accompany her. I asked, why must I go? All the clients will bring their spouses. I can't be the exception, she said while putting on her makeup. Looking at her reflection in the mirror, her flawless makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion under her eyes. I asked, have you been overworking yourself lately? Her hand paused for a moment. Are you concerned about me? You're my wife, after all. She smiled, but the smile carried a hint of bitterness. Thank you. The banquet was held at a 5-star hotel. Willow changed into a black evening gown. Looking so elegant it left me breathless. You look stunning, I said sincerely. She froze for a second, then quickly looked away. We should go. At the banquet, I saw another side of Willow. She was witty and graceful, the center of attention in every circle. And me, I was just a prop standing at her side. Willow, a tall, handsome man walked over, praising, you outshine everyone tonight. Makoto. Willow revealed her first genuine smile of the evening. So this was Makoto. I sized him up. Indeed, he was impressive. And this is, Makoto looked toward me, my husband, George. Willow introduced. A pleasure. Makoto extended his hand, though his eyes clearly carried disdain. I shook his hand. Hello. For the rest of the evening, Makoto hovered around Willow. They talked about law, investments, mutual friends, subjects I couldn't join in. Willow, for next week's cross-border merger case, we'll need to prepare thoroughly. Makoto said, we may need to work overtime around the clock. No problem. Willow agreed without hesitation. I couldn't help but interrupt. Next week, I might have an interview at the provincial hospital. Willow frowned. When did this happen? Just decided. Makoto cut in. So Dr. Wong is planning a comeback, But isn't the municipal hospital job pretty relaxed? Stay idle too long and you'll get rusty. I looked him straight in the eye. A man should have ambitions. Well said. Makoto smirked. But some opportunities, once missed, are hard to get back. With a 3-year gap, I'm afraid the provincial hospital won't be easy for you. His words were barbed. Just as I was about to retort, Willow pulled me aside. Ignore him, she whispered. You two seem close. College classmates. Now we have business dealings. That's all. She looked up at me. What are you trying to say? Nothing. I looked away. Just that you two seem like a good match. George. She raised her voice. What? Did I say something wrong? I sneered. Highly educated. Same profession. Common topics. You do make a fine pair. You're jealous? She suddenly asked. Jealous? I shook my head. No, I'm just seeing reality. Just then, the giant screen lit up, displaying the charity auction items. Now for tonight's highlight, the host announced. A pair of rare blue diamond earrings donated by the Ito Group. With a starting bid of 1 million, the bidding began. Makoto raised his paddle first. 2 million. 3 million. The price soared. In the end, Makoto won the earrings for 8 million. Congratulations, Mr. Ito, the host exclaimed. May I ask which lucky lady will receive this gift? Makoto stood, his gaze locking onto Willow. To my most admired partner, Miss Willow. The hall erupted in astonishment. All eyes turned toward us. Willow was clearly caught off guard, frozen in place, unsure how to respond. And I finally understood what it meant to be publicly humiliated. Chapter 6. Makoto, what do you mean by this? Willow stood up, her voice icy cold. Don't misunderstand. It's just a gift between friends. Makoto smiled. Mr. Wong, you don't mind, do you? Everyone's eyes turned to me, waiting for my reaction. I stood and said calmly, of course I mind. The atmosphere instantly grew tense. Willow is my wife. Such an extravagant gift is inappropriate. I looked straight at Makoto. Please take it back, Mr. Wong. Aren't you being a bit petty? Makoto sneered. Then again, considering the huge difference in your incomes, it's understandable. Makoto, Willow snapped, her voice sharp, clenching my fists. I forced myself to stay calm. Income is not the measure of a person's worth. At the very least, I know my boundaries. Boundaries? Makoto scoffed. Then tell me, Mr. Wong, letting your wife fight alone in her career while you hide in a small hospital, living comfortably, what kind of boundaries are those? Enough. Willow suddenly exploded. Makoto, this is my family matter. It's not your place to comment. She grabbed my hand. We're leaving. After leaving the banquet and getting into the car, Willow stayed silent. I'm sorry, she suddenly said. Why apologize? Makoto went too far. She looked out the window. I didn't expect him to act that way. What exactly is your relationship with him? I asked directly. Just classmates and business partners. He likes you. It wasn't a question. Willow stayed silent. And you? I pressed. How do you feel about him? George, we're married. That's not an answer. She turned her gaze to me, her eyes complicated. I don't know. Don't know. I gave a cold laugh. Willow, you're a lawyer. You should know what honesty means. I am being honest. She raised her voice. I admit, Makoto is outstanding. And yes, we share many common topics, but that doesn't mean anything. But you've never rejected his advances. That's for work. Work requires you to accept an $8 million gift. Willow was left speechless. When we got home, I went straight into the study and began organizing my resume. If I was going back to the provincial hospital, I had to give it my all. At 2 a.m, Willow knocked and came in, still not sleeping. Preparing interview materials. I didn't look up. She walked over, set down a cup of hot milk, and said, drink something. I glanced at her in surprise. To my memory, this was the first time she had ever shown me such concern. George, she sat across from me. If you truly want to return to the provincial hospital, I won't oppose it. Really? Yes. She lowered her head. I've been too selfish. Why the sudden change of heart? She gave a bitter smile. As much as Makoto's words tonight were excessive, he was right about one thing. I have ignored your feelings. For the first time in 3 years, she admitted fault. Willow, I put down my pen. Can we have a proper talk? Talk about what? About our marriage. I looked at her seriously. Do you think there's still love between us? She froze, and after a long pause said, I don't know what love is. Then why did you marry? Because it was suitable. Her voice was faint. You were willing to change for me, support my career, and never interfere with my work, so I was just a suitable choice. No, she denied it quickly, but couldn't explain further. I stood and walked to the window. Willow, if marriage is only about being suitable, then what meaning does it have? She was silent for a long time, then finally whispered, I'm sorry. That night, neither of us slept. Chapter 7. Early the next morning, I received a call from Lillian, Sr. I heard all about what happened last night. Her voice carried concern. Are you okay? You're well informed. The whole circle is talking about it. She paused. Do you want to meet up and talk? After thinking for a moment, I agreed. At the cafe, Lillian looked at me with worry. Senior, that Makoto went way too far. He humiliated you in front of everyone. He wasn't entirely wrong, I said with a bitter smile. I did waste 3 years. That wasn't your fault, Lillian said passionately. It was Willow's selfishness. She doesn't love you, she only needed an obedient husband. Lillian, I stopped her. She's my wife, but she doesn't deserve you. Lillian's eyes reddened. Senior, do you know how much it's pained me these past 3 years, watching you go from a brilliant, confident genius surgeon into an ordinary man? I finished for her. No, you'll never be ordinary. She grabbed my hand. Senior, leave her. Start over. I stared blankly at the emotional girl in front of me, and suddenly realized something. Lillian, you. Her face flushed red, and she quickly let go. I'm sorry. I lost control. Lillian, I'm already married, but your marriage is only in name. She lifted her head, eyes firm. Senior, I've waited for you for 3 years. I can keep waiting. So that's how she felt. I sighed. Silly girl. It's not worth it. It is worth it. Tears welled in her eyes. You don't realize how extraordinary you are. Back then, on the operating table, you looked like you were glowing. I fell silent. It was true, only in the operating room did I feel truly alive. Senior, she continued, Director Chan said as long as you're willing to return, the position of Associate Chief in Cardiac Surgery is still yours. Really? Of course. Everyone's been waiting for you to come back, she said excitedly. The province recently brought in the Da Vinci robotic system. They need an expert like you. The Da Vinci system. My eyes lit up. That was the dream tool of every cardiac surgeon. I'll give it serious thought. Leaving the cafe, I went straight to the provincial hospital. Director Chan was delighted to see me. George, I knew you'd come back. Director Chan, about the associate chief position. It's always been reserved for you. He patted my shoulder. We tried a few people these past years, but none matched you. He showed me the newly acquired equipment and introduced the latest advancements in technology. Each one filled me with excitement. Well, tempted? Director Chan asked with a smile. To be honest, very tempted. Then come back. The hospital needs you, and the patients need you. Just then, news came from the emergency department. A child with a complex congenital heart disease needed urgent surgery. Perfect timing. You can see our team in action, Director Chan said. Outside the operating room, I watched the medical staff working tirelessly. The familiar feeling overwhelmed me. Dr. Wang, a young doctor, recognized me. It really is you. Are you back? Soon, more and more people gathered around. Dr. Wang, you finally returned. Yes, we've been hoping for this. With you here, we feel reassured. In that moment, I rediscovered my true value. Chapter 8. That evening, when I returned home, I was surprised to find Willow in the kitchen. You're cooking? I asked in astonishment. Just giving it a try. She looked a little embarrassed. It might not taste good. On the table were a few simple home-cooked dishes, their appearance rather ordinary. Try it, she said, watching me expectantly. I picked up a piece of braised pork. The moment it entered my mouth, it was very salty. But seeing the look of anticipation in her eyes, I swallowed it and said, not bad. Her eyes lit up. Really? Compared to takeout, it actually tastes like home. We ate quietly, but the atmosphere was much more relaxed than usual. I went to the provincial hospital today, I said. Her chopsticks paused. And the result? Director Chan said the associate chief position is still waiting for me. That's good. Her tone was unreadable. Willow, do you really not mind? She set down her chopsticks, looked at me seriously, and said, George, I thought about it all night. You were right. True love is about fulfillment, not possession. So, go pursue your dream. She smiled. I'll support you. The change was so sudden, I could hardly believe it. Why? Because. She hesitated. I don't want to lose you. In that moment, I saw a fragility in her eyes I had never seen before. Last night, I kept thinking, if one day you really left me, what would happen to me? She lowered her head, and the answer was, I'd be terrified. Willow, I know I'm not a good wife. She gave a self-deprecating laugh. I can't cook. I don't know how to take care of people. I don't even know what love is. But George, these 3 years, coming home and seeing you every day, it gave me peace of mind. It was the first time she had expressed her feelings so openly. But you never showed it, because I don't know how. She smiled bitterly. Since I was young, I've been used to being independent, strong, never relying on anyone, not even your husband. Especially not my husband. She lifted her gaze to me. I was afraid of relying on you, afraid of losing myself. So I pushed you away, building walls with my work. So that was it. Suddenly, I understood her coldness. But last night, when Makoto humiliated you like that, I realized I was wrong. Her eyes glistened. I always thought keeping a distance would protect me. But in truth, I was pushing away the one who loved me the most. How do you know I loved you most? Because only you were willing to give up everything for me. Tears finally slid down her cheeks, and I've never done anything for you. I handed her a tissue. It's not too late to realize it now. She wiped her tears, then suddenly asked, George, if you could choose again, would you still marry me? I thought for a moment. Yes. Why? You could have had someone better. Because other than you, I want no one else. I said seriously, even though you're cold, selfish, and unromantic. For some reason, I just love you. She burst into a teary smile. Is that supposed to be sweet talk? No, it's the truth. That night, we talked about many things, our past, our future, and the issues between us. George, give me a chance. Let's start over. Okay, she asked before bed, looking into her hopeful eyes. My heart softened. Okay. Chapter 9. On Monday morning, I officially submitted my resignation to the municipal hospital. The director sighed regretfully. Dr. Wong, are you unhappy working here? No, I just want to return to the position that suits me best. I knew I couldn't keep you. He shook his head. Someone with your talent shouldn't be buried here. When my colleagues found out, they all came to say goodbye. Dr. Wong, we'll really miss you. Yeah. What will we do about difficult surgeries from now on? It turned out, without realizing it, I had become the backbone of the team. That afternoon, I went to the provincial hospital to complete the onboarding procedures. The HR department even held a small welcome gathering for me. Welcome home. My colleagues cheered warmly. Looking at the familiar faces, my eyes grew moist. Yes, I was home. Director Chan announced on the spot, starting tomorrow, George will officially serve as Associate Chief of Cardiac Surgery, responsible for the clinical application of the Da Vinci robotic system. Thunderous applause followed. Lillian was the first to rush over. This is great, Senior. We'll get to work together again. Seeing her excitement, I couldn't help but worry. I hoped she would manage her feelings properly. That evening, I went home early on purpose, wanting to share the good news with Willow. But when I opened the door, I found a guest in our living room, Makoto. He was sitting on the sofa, a glass of red wine in hand, carrying himself as if he were the host. Dr. Wong, you're back. He stood gracefully. Congratulations on your return to the provincial hospital. What are you doing here? Work discussion. Willow came out of the study and explained. We need to talk about the new merger case. At home, I frowned. There was an urgent issue, she replied. Makoto smiled. Sorry to intrude. We'll be done soon. I checked the clock. 7 p.m. Discussing work at this hour. You two continue. I'll cook dinner. I turned and went into the kitchen. Behind me, their discussion drifted on. I didn't understand the technical jargon, but I could tell they worked in sync. Half an hour later, Makoto took his leave. See you tomorrow, Willow. He gave me a meaningful look. Dr. Wong, I wish you all the best at the provincial hospital. After he left, I asked Willow, has this happened often? What do you mean? Him coming over to talk about work. She hesitated. Occasionally, when something urgent came up. From now on, don't meet him at home, I said firmly. Why? I don't like it. She was silent for a while, then said, okay. At dinner, I told her about rejoining the provincial hospital. That's wonderful. She looked genuinely happy for me. When do you start officially? Tomorrow. So soon? The hospital needs staff urgently. I paused. From now on, I may often have to work overtime, even night shifts. That's fine. She held my hand. This is your career. I'll support you. Seeing the seriousness in her eyes, warmth spread through my heart. Willow, thank you. Thank me for what? She lowered her head, a little shy. I'm just learning how to be a qualified wife. In that moment, I believed our marriage still had hope. Chapter 10. In my first week back at the provincial hospital, I practically lived there. There was new equipment to familiarize myself with, a new team to adapt to, and a backlog of surgeries waiting to be scheduled. Director Wong, here's today's surgery schedule. The head nurse handed me a stack of files. Thank you. I looked them over. 2 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and an emergency standby tonight. You're working too hard, she said with concern. You just came back, maybe take some time to adjust. No need. I can't wait any longer. And it was true. After 3 years of absence, I needed to make up for it with double the effort. The first surgery was a difficult one, a child with complex tetralogy of Fallot. Everyone to your positions. Standing at the operating table, the familiar feeling returned to me. Begin. 4 hours later, the surgery was a success. Brilliant. Director Chan praised from the observation room. Your technique is still razor sharp. The following surgeries went just as smoothly. By evening, just as I was about to leave, the emergency department called. Director Wong, an aortic dissection rupture just came in. The patient is critical. I'll be right there. With this kind of surgery, time was life. Prepare the operating room. Notify anesthesiology. Assemble the team. I commanded as I ran. The patient was a 40-year-old man, in grave condition. Blood pressure 60/40ths. Heart rate 130. Hemorrhagic shock. Start transfusion immediately. Prepare for cardiopulmonary bypass. The surgery lasted 6 hours. When the final stitch was tied, everyone let out a breath of relief. We did it, a young doctor exclaimed excitedly. I smiled wearily. That feeling of saving a life on the edge of death, it was exhilarating. When I left the operating room, it was already 2 a.m. To my surprise, Willow was waiting in the lounge. What are you doing here? Worried about you. She handed me a thermos. Drink some hot soup. Taking the cup, warmth spread through me. Were you waiting long? It's fine. I handled some files in the car. Looking at her tired face, guilt tugged at me. You don't need to wait for me next time. Go home and rest. I want to wait. She looked at me seriously. You've waited for me countless times before, now it's my turn. On the drive home, she was at the wheel, while I dozed off in the passenger seat, half asleep. I heard her whisper softly, George, seeing you on the operating table, I finally understand why you love this job. You were glowing. The next morning, I woke to find a note on the bedside table. Breakfast is on the table. Don't forget to eat. I'll be home late today, so don't wait up. Love, Willow. Seeing her graceful handwriting, I smiled. She was trying to change, I could see it. But just when everything seemed to be getting better, an unexpected event shattered the peace. That afternoon, just after finishing a surgery, a nurse told me someone was looking for me. Who? A woman. She says she's your wife's friend. Puzzled, I went to the reception area and saw a woman I didn't recognize. Hello, I'm George. The woman studied me with a complicated expression. I'm Sophia, Makoto's ex-girlfriend. Makoto's ex. What did she want with me? What's this about? She took a deep breath. I came to warn you. Be careful of Makoto. He won't leave Willow alone. What do you mean? 5 years ago, when I was dating Makoto, he could never let go of Willow. She gave a bitter smile. To him, Willow has always been his true love. I frowned. So what? Willow is my wife. You don't understand Makoto. She shook her head. He's extremely arrogant. If he can't have something, he'll stop at nothing to get it. What exactly are you trying to say? She stood up. Be careful with your marriage. Makoto has already started moving. With that, she gave me a meaningful look and left. I stood there, a bad premonition rising in my chest. Chapter 11. Sophia's warning left me uneasy. That night, when I got home, Willow wasn't back yet. I called her, and it rang for a long time before she finally answered. Hello. The background was noisy. Where are you? At a dinner, with an important client. Her voice sounded tired. I might be back late. All right. Stay safe. After hanging up, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. By 11. Willow still hadn't come home. I called again. This time, her phone was off. Uneasy, I called her assistant. Where's Lawyer Lou's dinner tonight? At the Hilton Hotel, the assistant replied. But it should have ended already. I drove straight to the Hilton. At the hotel, the receptionist confirmed the banquet was indeed over. While I was searching, I spotted Makoto's car. He was helping a very drunk Willow into it. Stop. I rushed over. Makoto turned, a flicker of panic crossing his face. Dr. Wong. Where are you taking her? She's drunk. I'm taking her home. No need. I'll take her. I reached out to support Willow. She leaned groggily against Makoto, mumbling. Makoto, don't go. My heart sank. See, she needs me, Makoto said smugly. She's my wife. I pulled Willow firmly into my arms. George? She blinked her hazy eyes. Why are you here? To take you home. I don't want to go. She pushed me weakly. I need to discuss the project with Makoto. Willow, you're drunk. I'm not drunk. She swayed unsteadily. Makoto. Let's keep talking. Watching her drunken state, a storm of emotions welled inside me. Dr. Wong. Makoto leaned close, lowering his voice. Looks like Willow needs me more. My fists clenched. I forced down my anger. Makoto, don't push it. Push it. He sneered. You're the one who's deluded. Do you really think Willow loves you? Shut up. What she needs is a career partner, not just a surgeon. I was about to explode, but Willow suddenly vomited. I quickly held her, ignoring him. Let me drive you both back, Makoto offered with feigned politeness. No need. I lifted Willow into my arms and said coldly, stay away from my wife. Back home. I settled her in bed. Even half conscious, she mumbled. Makoto, the project, can't fail. Hearing that, my chest tightened. Even drunk, her thoughts were still about work, and about Makoto. I wiped her face, changed her clothes, then sat by the bed, staring blankly. Sophia was right. Makoto wouldn't give up so easily. And Willow, what exactly were her feelings toward him? By dawn, Willow stirred awake. My head hurts. She pressed her temple. I handed her hangover medicine and water. Take this. It'll help. Thanks. She swallowed the pill. Last night, did I drink too much? Yeah. Sorry. That's rare for me. She looked apologetic. The client kept pushing drinks on me. Makoto was there too. She froze, then answered. He showed up later. Oh, sensing my mood, she explained. George, Makoto and I really are just colleagues. Is that so? I looked at her. But drunk. You kept calling his name. Her face paled. What did I say? You told him not to leave, that you had to discuss the project. That was just about work. Her voice grew smaller and smaller. I stood. Willow, I'm tired. George, I'll sleep in the study. That night, I lay awake, unable to close my eyes. I believed Willow had feelings for me, but Makoto's place in her heart, perhaps even she didn't truly understand. Chapter 12. In the days that followed, Willow and I fell into a cold war. She tried several times to explain, but I avoided her. It wasn't about sulking, it was that I needed time to think. At the hospital, I poured all my energy into work. Director Wong. Here's the list of requested new equipment. The secretary handed me the file. All right, I'll take a look. As I was reviewing it, my phone rang. A strange number. Dr. Wong. This is Sophia. Her again. What is it? Can we meet? It's about Makoto. I hesitated, then agreed. At the cafe, Sophia got straight to the point. Makoto is currently acquiring a medical group. And what does that have to do with me? That group is preparing to collaborate with the provincial hospital. One of Makoto's conditions is to remove the head of the cardiothoracic department. I froze. What did you say? He wants to use capital maneuvers to push you out of the provincial hospital. She sneered. That's Makoto's style. Why would he do that? For Willow, she looked at me. As long as your career takes a blow, he thinks he'll have a chance. I fell silent. Makoto's schemes were deeper than I had imagined. Thank you for telling me this. Don't thank me. She gave a bitter smile. I just don't want to see another woman ruined by him. Back at the hospital, I went to see Director Chan. Director, I heard the hospital is considering a collaboration with Orange Cat Medical Group. He blinked. You're well informed. Yes, negotiations are happening, but nothing is settled yet. Can you tell me more? Orange Cat was recently acquired. The new owner is very wealthy and intends to make a big move in healthcare. Director Chan explained. They're offering very generous terms, and the hospital leadership is tempted, including personnel changes. He frowned. Where did you hear that? I told him what Sophia had said. Outrageous. Director Chan slammed the table. Capital interfering in hospital management. Not a chance. But the higher-ups. Don't worry, I'll handle it, he said firmly. A hospital is for saving lives, not for playing chips in some capital game. That evening when I returned home, I unexpectedly found Willow in the kitchen cooking. You're back. She turned and said, I made sweet and sour ribs. Your favorite. Seeing her clumsy movements, my heart softened. Need some help? Sure. She let out a relieved smile. We stood side by side in the kitchen, cooking like an ordinary couple. George, she suddenly said, I'm sorry. For what? For that night. She set down the spatula. I know what you were upset about. Willow, let me finish. She cut me off. Makoto did pursue me, starting back in college. But to me, he's only ever been a classmate. Then why didn't you make it clear and reject him? She gave a bitter smile. Because of work. He's an important partner. I couldn't risk souring the relationship. So you chose to remain ambiguous. It's not ambiguity, it's distance. She hurried to explain. George, in my heart, you're the one who matters most. Looking into her sincere eyes, I believed her. Willow, Makoto is targeting me. What? She was shocked. I told her about what Sophia had revealed. Her face changed dramatically. How could he do that? That's why you need to stay away from him. I will. She took my hand. George, let's face this together. All right. Looking at her resolute eyes, I nodded. All right. That dinner, the sweet and sour ribs were a little burnt, but we both ate happily. Afterward, she nestled in my arms and whispered, George, I love you. It was the first time she had ever said those words. I love you too. I kissed her forehead. Outside, the night was deep, but our hearts had never been closer. Chapter 13. Early the next morning, news spread through the hospital. The negotiations for the acquisition by Orange Cat Group had been suspended. I heard the board had internal disagreements. Colleagues whispered. I knew this was the result of Director Chan's behind-the-scenes efforts. Director Wong, my secretary hurried over. The president wants to see you in his office. Inside the president's office, both the president and Director Chan were waiting. George, have a seat, the president said kindly. You've probably heard about the Orange Cat Group situation. Yes. Someone reported to me that there are some shady dealings behind this acquisition. The president gave me a meaningful look. Allegedly, it's related to some personal grudge of yours. I told the truth. After listening, the president pondered for a moment. The hospital must never become a battlefield for personal vendettas. I will conduct a thorough investigation. Thank you, President. However, his tone shifted. George, you must be careful. Business is like war. Your opponent will not give up so easily. He was right. With someone like Makoto, if one plan failed, another would follow. That afternoon, as I was preparing for surgery, Lillian came rushing in. Senior brother, Something bad happened. What is it? Some negative news about you suddenly appeared online. She handed me her phone. Several articles popped up. Vice Director of Provincial Hospital's surgical skills in question. After a 3-year gap, can he still handle surgery? Family complains, reckless operation caused death. The content was baseless speculation, but written as if backed by solid evidence. This is slander. Lillian fumed. Senior brother. Everyone knows your skill. I calmly handed her back the phone. Don't pay attention to it. But the innocent need no defense. I smiled lightly. Let's prepare for surgery. But things escalated beyond expectation. The moment my surgery ended in the afternoon, reporters swarmed around me. Dr. Wong, how do you respond to the doubts circulating online? Some families claim your skills are inadequate. What's your reply? We heard you didn't perform surgeries for 3 years. Has your technique declined? Security quickly intervened to drive the reporters out, but I knew this was only the beginning. That night, when I got home, Willow had already heard about it. It was Makoto, she said firmly. How do you know? He came to see me this afternoon. Her voice was seething. He implied that if I agreed to collaborate with him on a new project, all this negative news would disappear. And what did you say? I told him to get lost. Seeing her angry expression, I actually laughed. Well done. You can still laugh, she said anxiously. These false stories could ruin your reputation. Don't worry, the hospital will deal with it. No, we need to strike back. She stood up. I'll call a legal team right now and sue them for defamation. Willow, I pulled her back. There's no need to make it such a big fight. How not? They're trying to destroy your career. Looking at how distressed she was, my heart warmed. With you here, I'm not afraid of anything. She froze for a second, then threw herself into my arms. George, I won't let anyone hurt you. I know. That night, we fell asleep holding each other. The storm outside was gathering, but as long as she was by my side, I had the courage to face it all. The next day, the hospital issued an official statement, fully supporting my skills and medical ethics. At the same time, the legal department began collecting evidence to sue those spreading the rumors. As for me, I carried on with my work. On the operating table, I was still the same skilled surgeon. Director Wong, that operation just now was brilliant, a young doctor said admiringly. Yeah, those negative stories are all nonsense. Hearing my colleague's support moved me deeply. Just then, the head nurse came rushing in. Director Wong, a special patient has requested that you perform the surgery personally. What kind of patient? The chairman of Orange Cat Group. I froze. Orange Cat Group, the very company Makoto was acquiring. What's his condition? Acute myocardial infarction. He needs emergency bypass surgery. She lowered her voice. The other doctors are too afraid to take the case. I understood immediately. This was a trap. If I refused, they'd accuse me of abandoning a life. If I accepted and anything went wrong, all the blame would fall on me. Director Wong, what do you think? I took a deep breath. Prepare the surgery. But, as doctors, our duty is to save lives, no matter who he is. If he needs treatment, I cannot refuse. A flash of respect shone in the nurse's eyes. Yes, sir. Outside the operating room, I caught sight of Makoto. Dr. Wong, he said with mocking sarcasm, the chairman's life is in your hands. I shot him a cold glance, then turned and entered the operating room. This battle was not just about saving a life, it was about my career itself. Chapter 14. The shadowless surgical lamp lit up, and I took a deep breath. Entering the zone, the patient was a 60-year-old man. His electrocardiogram showing a severe myocardial infarction. The patient's condition is critical, the anesthesiologist reported. Unstable blood pressure, arrhythmia. Begin the surgery, I said calmly. In my hands, the scalpel seemed to come alive. Every movement was precise, flawless, beautiful. My assistant couldn't help exclaiming. 3 hours later, the bypass graft was complete. The heart is beating again, a nurse exclaimed in excitement. Blood pressure rising, rhythm normalizing. The surgery was a success. Walking out of the operating room, I saw Makoto's face dark with frustration. The chairman's surgery was very successful, I said evenly. After 48 hours of observation, he should be out of danger. Makoto clenched his teeth but had no retort. Inside the hospital, colleagues gathered to congratulate me. Director Wong is incredible. Those rumormongers should shut their mouths now. That evening, Willow prepared a table full of dishes. To celebrate your victory today, she said, raising her glass. I only did my duty as a doctor. No, you did more than that. Her eyes sparkled with pride. Facing a trap, you chose medical ethics. That's what a true healer is. Just then, my phone rang. Dr. Wong, this is the lawyer of Orange Cat Group. An unfamiliar voice said, the chairman would like to meet you. The next day, I went to the ward as promised. The chairman was already awake, looking rather well. Dr. Wong, thank you for saving my life. I was only fulfilling my duty. He gazed at me deeply. I know about the grudge between you and Makoto. I remained silent. To be honest, I don't approve of his methods. The old man sighed. A hospital should never become a playground for power struggles. What do you mean? Orange Cat Group will withdraw all actions against you, he declared decisively, and I will reconsider our cooperation with Makoto. The turn of events took me by surprise. Why? The old man smiled. Because you showed me what true compassion in medicine means. A doctor like you deserves respect, not to be trampled by capital. Leaving the ward, I felt a mix of emotions. Who would have thought that what resolved the crisis was medicine itself? That evening, Makoto showed up. You won, he said darkly. This isn't about winning or losing. Don't get cocky. His eyes burned with malice. Willow will be mine sooner or later. Makoto, I said firmly. Willow is a person, not a possession. She belongs to no one. She has the right to choose her own life. She chose a loser like you. At least I don't use despicable tricks. Fuming, he stormed out. Willow came out from inside. I asked her, you heard all that? Yes. She walked to my side. Thank you for saying those words. Which ones? That I'm not a possession. She smiled. Most people take that for granted, but few would ever say it aloud. I pulled her into my arms. Because to me, you are the one and only Willow, not anyone's accessory. Her eyes grew moist. George, meeting you is the greatest luck of my life. Late into the night, we sat embraced on the sofa. Willow, I've been thinking about something. What is it? Should we have a child? Her body stiffened, then slowly relaxed as she answered, yes. Really? I looked at her in surprise. Really? She lowered her head shyly. I want to have a child like you. In that moment, I felt as though I had the whole world. Chapter 15. Life gradually returned to normal. In the hospital, my reputation had not only remained intact but had risen even higher because of that surgery. Director Wong. Here are the invitations for next month's academic conferences. The secretary handed me a stack of envelopes. I flipped through them. They were all top-level medical conferences in the country. Oh, by the way, the secretary added, the dean said he plans to recommend you for this year's National Science and Technology Progress Award. Really? Of course. Your innovations with the Da Vinci robotic surgery system absolutely qualify. This was the highest recognition a doctor could receive. That evening, when I got home, I couldn't wait to tell Willow the good news. That's amazing. She was even more excited than I was. I always knew you were the best. It's not decided yet. You'll definitely win. She was brimming with confidence. My husband is a genius doctor, after all. Seeing the pride on her face, my heart felt warm and sweet. Oh, right. I remembered something. Next week, there's a medical conference in Sanya. Do you want to come along? Go on a trip? Her eyes lit up. Kind of like a trip, I smiled. We've been married for so long, but we've never traveled together. Yes, of course I want to go. She threw her arms around me in excitement. Looking at her happiness, I realized how much we had missed over the past 3 years. A week later, Sanya. The conference was held at a seaside resort hotel. During the day I attended sessions, and at night I walked with her along the beach. It's so beautiful. She walked barefoot on the sand, the sea breeze lifting her long hair. Yes, I held her hand. How did I never notice before? You're this beautiful. Her face flushed as she teased. Sweet talker. I'm serious. I looked at her intently. Willow, these past few days I keep wondering, if I hadn't lost my memory back then, would we have missed each other? She was silent for a moment. Maybe. Why? Because back then, we were both too stubborn about our own worlds. She sighed. You were set on making me leave my work, and I was set on maintaining my independence. And now? Now, she lifted her gaze to me. Now I've realized, love is neither possession nor distance. It's about fulfilling each other. Moonlight shimmered across the sea, and her eyes shone brighter than the stars. George, let's start over. Okay. I kissed her. That kiss was long and lingering, as though making up for all the regrets of the past. Back at the hotel, she shyly pulled me into the room. That night, we truly became husband and wife. When I woke in the morning and looked at her in my arms, I felt my life was complete. Awake, she opened her sleepy eyes. I murmured in response, kissed her forehead. Hungry? A little. Wait here. I'll get us breakfast. In the hotel buffet, I was picking out the foods she liked when I suddenly heard a familiar voice. George, what are you doing here? I turned, and sure enough, it was him. Business talks, he said coldly. And you? Academic conference. Oh, he smiled meaningfully. Willow's here too, isn't she? I tensed. That's none of your business. Nothing. Just a reminder. He leaned closer. Be careful. After all, accidents can happen anytime. With that, he turned and walked away. My heart sank. I hurried back to the room. Willow. The sound of water came from the bathroom. I'm in the shower. I let out a breath of relief, but Makoto's words left me unsettled. What's wrong? She came out wrapped in a towel. Noticing my face. You don't look well. It's nothing. I didn't want her to worry. Maybe just too tired from last night. Her cheeks flushed, and she playfully hit me. You're awful. But for the rest of the conference, I couldn't focus until I received an anonymous text message. Want to know your wife's secret? Meet me on the beach tonight at 8. I stared at the message, lost in thought. Chapter 16. At 8 o'clock that evening, I went to the beach as promised. In the hazy moonlight, a figure stood beneath a coconut tree. Who are you? I asked. The person turned around. It was Sophia. It's you. Sorry for asking you out this way, she said apologetically, but there are things I must tell you. What things? She took a deep breath. About 5 years ago. 5 years ago? Yes. Willow and Makoto. She hesitated. What about them? They were once engaged. The news struck me like a bolt from the blue. What did you say? 5 years ago, Willow and Makoto had a marriage engagement. Sophia looked at me. But later, for some unknown reason, Willow suddenly broke it off and instead married you. My mind went blank. That's impossible. I have proof. She took out her phone, showing me old news screenshots. The headline read, Rising Star of Law Engaged. Power Couple Unites Business and Legal Circles. In the photo, a younger Willow and Makoto stood together. On her hand was an engagement ring. I was speechless. Makoto has never let go. Sophia continued. He believes Willow was forced by her family to marry you. Why are you telling me this now? Because Makoto is planning something. Her expression grew grave. He wants to stage an accident to make you disappear. What? I was shocked. I don't know the details, but you must be careful. With that, she hurried away. I stood alone on the beach, the sea wind howling, my heart in chaos. Willow was once engaged to Makoto. Why didn't she ever tell me? When I returned to the hotel, Willow was already asleep. Looking at her peaceful face, my emotions were all tangled. The next day, after the conference ended, I booked an earlier flight home. So soon? Willow looked disappointed. Didn't you say we'd stay a few extra days? There's an emergency at the hospital. I lied. On the plane, she fell asleep against my shoulder. I stared out at the sea of clouds, the same question gnawing at me. Why did she hide this from me? Back home, I secretly began investigating what happened 5 years ago. Sure enough, I found traces online. At that time, Willow had just graduated from law school and was hailed as the most promising newcomer. Makoto was already a rising star in the business world. Their engagement was widely reported by the media, praised as a golden couple. But strangely, 3 months after the engagement, all related news vanished. The more I dug, the more uneasy I became. What are you looking into? Willow's voice startled me. She was suddenly standing behind me. I quickly closed the page. Nothing. Just work. She gave me a suspicious glance but said nothing. At dinner, I couldn't hold back any longer. Willow, were you very close to Makoto before? Her chopsticks paused. We were okay. College classmates. Just classmates. She lifted her eyes to me. Why ask all of a sudden? Just curious. She put down her chopsticks. George, if you want to ask me something, just say it. I took a deep breath. You were engaged to Makoto, weren't you? The air froze. Her face turned pale instantly. How did you know? So it's true. I gave a bitter smile. Why didn't you ever tell me? She bit her lip. I didn't mean to hide it. Then why? Because that past doesn't matter, she said urgently. What matters is now, us. Doesn't matter. I stood up. You were going to marry him, and you say it doesn't matter? George, please, listen to me. I have to get to my shift at the hospital. I grabbed my coat and left. Her voice followed behind me. George. But I didn't look back. Right now, I needed to calm down. In the hospital's on-call room, I stayed awake all night. At dawn, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Dr. Wong. This is Makoto. What do you want? Let's meet at noon. Some things should be made clear. I hesitated, then agreed. At the restaurant, Makoto was already waiting. So you know, he got straight to the point. Know what? My past with Willow. He smirked. The truth is, she never loved you. What do you mean? 5 years ago, we were about to marry. Hatred flickered in his eyes. But her family ran into trouble. The company's cash flow collapsed. They needed a marriage alliance to get through it. So she chose you. He sneered. The Wong family may not be as prestigious as my Ito family, but you had the money. My fists clenched. You're lying. Am I? He slid a document across the table. Here are the financial reports from back then. See for yourself. The files showed that 5 years ago, the Liu family had indeed faced a financial crisis, and the ones who rescued them were the Wong family's investments. The timing matched exactly, just 1 month after Willow broke off the engagement. My head buzzed. So, was I nothing more than a bargaining chip in a transaction? Chapter 17. Leaving the restaurant, I wandered aimlessly down the street. 5 years of marriage, was it all built on lies? My phone kept buzzing. It was Willow calling, but I didn't answer, until Lillian called. Senior, where are you? Something's happened at the hospital. What is it? A special patient just came to the ER and requested you personally for surgery. When I rushed to the hospital, I realized the patient was Willow's father. Dad suddenly had a heart attack. Willow's face was streaked with tears. George, please save him. Looking at her tear-filled eyes, my heart was torn with conflicting emotions, but the instinct of a doctor prevailed. Prepare for surgery. Inside the operating room, I focused with all my strength. No matter how chaotic my mind was, the scalpel in my hand remained steady. 4 hours later, the surgery was a success. How's my father? Willow rushed up to ask. The surgery was very successful, but he'll need to be monitored for 48 hours. Thank you, she broke down in sobs. Seeing her like this, my heart softened. Go rest for now. She shook her head. I want to stay by my father's side. Over the next 2 days, she barely left the ICU corridor. When I brought her meals, she only ate a few bites in a hurry. He's going to be fine, I reassured her. She looked up at me, exhaustion in her eyes. George, I'm sorry. For what? About Makoto. She bit her lip. I should have told you earlier. There's no point saying this now. No, I have to make it clear. She stood up. 5 years ago. Yes, I was engaged to Makoto. I listened in silence, but it wasn't because of love. She gave a bitter smile. It was a family alliance. And then I met you. Her eyes lit up as she spoke. During that medical dispute case, when you appeared in court as an expert witness, I remembered the case, though not the details. Your performance in court left a deep impression on me, she recalled. Professional, honest, full of responsibility. So my heart was moved. She lowered her head. For the first time, I met someone who truly stirred my heart, but you were already engaged. Yes, she nodded, and I was in pain. But in the end, I chose to follow my heart. You mean, you broke off the engagement because of me? Yes. She looked straight into my eyes. That decision severed ties between the two families, and it also hurt the family business. I thought of the financial reports Makoto had shown me. Later, your family company ran into financial problems. That was an accident. She cut me off. It had nothing to do with breaking off the engagement. A competitor took advantage of the situation. But the Wang family's investment, that was a business deal. She explained. Your father was shrewd. He saw a good investment opportunity. You're sure it wasn't part of the marriage arrangement? She froze for a moment, then realized. Makoto told you that, didn't he? I nodded. She sneered. He's still as despicable as ever. What do you mean? George, it's true your father once mentioned marriage ties, she admitted, but I refused. Then why did you still marry me? Because you were the one who pursued me. She gave a half-laugh, half-cry expression. Have you forgotten? I strained to recall, and fragments of memory surfaced. Yes, it was me who had pursued her. At that time, you had just returned from the U.S., she reminded me. At a banquet, you fell for me at first sight. The memories grew clearer. Yes, it was true. I had been drawn to her beauty and grace, and I had pursued her relentlessly. So it wasn't a marriage transaction. Of course not, she said it firmly. George, I married you only because I love you. Looking into her sincere eyes, I chose to believe her. I'm sorry. I held her hand. I misunderstood you. It's my fault. She leaned into my arms. I should have told you sooner. Then why is Makoto still clinging on? Because he can't accept failure, she sighed. In his eyes, I was his possession. How could I possibly marry someone else? So that was it. Just then, a nurse rushed over. Lawyer Liu, your father has woken up. We hurried over. Though weak, the old man was conscious. Dad, Willow cried tears of joy. He looked at her, then at me, and said weakly, George, thank you. It's what I should do. Willow, the old man grasped his daughter's hand. Take good care of George. I will, Dad. Watching this scene, my heart warmed. No matter what happened in the past, what mattered now was the present and the future. Chapter 18. Father Liu recovered quickly. Within a week, he was able to get out of bed and walk. George, I owe you a thank you, he said solemnly. Dad, please don't say that. No, I must. His expression was serious. Not only for saving my life, but also for your patience with Willow all these years. I was a little surprised. You knew? I know Willow's temperament, he sighed. She's too strong-willed and always pushes people away. She's already changed a lot. Yes, and that's your credit. The old man smiled with relief. You're a good man. Just then, Willow came in with a bowl of soup. Dad, time for your medicine. Watching her carefully tend to her father warmed my heart. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Director Chan. George, good news. The preliminary review for the National Science and Technology Progress Award has passed. Really? Of course. The committee gave very high praise to your innovation in robotic surgery. After hanging up, Willow curiously asked, what's the good news? I told them about the award. That's amazing. She threw her arms around me excitedly. This is true honor. Father Liu nodded approvingly. George, you've brought glory to the medical community. That evening when we got home, Willow specially cooked a full table of dishes to celebrate your award. It hasn't been officially awarded yet. It definitely will be, she said with confidence. After dinner, We snuggled together on the sofa watching TV. George, there's something I want to discuss with you. What is it? I want to resign. I looked at her in surprise. Why? I want to spend more time with you, she said seriously. These days, I've come to realize something. Career is important, but family is even more important. Willow, you don't have to sacrifice your career for me. It's not a sacrifice. She shook her head. It's a choice. I can still work as an independent lawyer, with more freedom over my time. Are you sure? Very sure, she smiled. Besides, weren't we planning to have a child? At the mention of a child, my heart softened. Then we'll do as you wish. She happily gave me a kiss. Oh, by the way, she suddenly remembered, Makoto hasn't bothered you again recently, has he? No, I replied. Maybe he's given up. But in truth, I was too optimistic. The next day, a group of people suddenly showed up at the hospital, claiming to be from the medical malpractice investigation team. We've received a report that Dr. Wang made an error during surgery, their leader said. Which surgery? I asked. A coronary bypass last month. I thought for a moment that was a routine surgery. Very successful, the patient had recovered well. The patient is perfectly healthy. How could there be a problem? We need to investigate. The man's tone was strictly by the book. Director Chan soon arrived. What's going on here? The investigators pulled out a document. This is the report, alleging that Dr. Wang violated procedure. Director Chan read it, and his face darkened. This is slander. The surgical records are perfectly clear. We'll verify everything. The investigation lasted a whole day, and in the end, of course, nothing was found. But the incident still sparked gossip in the hospital. This has to be Makoto's doing again, Lillian said furiously. I stayed silent, but in my heart, I knew Makoto hadn't given up. Sure enough, in the days that followed, troubles came one after another. One moment it was the health bureau making surprise inspections. The next it was patients filing baseless complaints. Though all of them were unfounded, they still kept us busy fending them off. This can't go on. Willow was furious. I'm going to sue him for harassment. It won't work, I said. He always acts through others. There's no direct evidence. Then what do we do? I thought for a moment. Maybe it's time to go on the offensive. Chapter 19. I hired a private detective to start investigating Makoto. Focus on his business dealings, I said. A man like him can't possibly be clean. The detective was very professional. Within a week, he had results. Mr. Wang, I've found something. He handed me a stack of documents. Makoto's company has been evading taxes and engaging in commercial bribery. I flipped through the evidence. It was solid and undeniable. This alone is enough to ruin him. Not just that, the detective said mysteriously. He's planning something big. What is it? He wants to short sell the Liu family's company. My heart skipped a beat. Short selling? That would completely destroy the Liu family. Are you certain? Absolutely. He's already teamed up with several investment institutions. I immediately told Willow the news. Her face turned pale. That bastard. We must strike first. How? I dialed a number. Hello. Is this the Securities Regulatory Commission? I'd like to report. 3 days later, Makoto's company was under investigation. Tax evasion, commercial bribery, stock manipulation. Each charge was enough to make him miserable. I didn't expect you to fight back, Makoto called, his voice dark. You struck first. I'll remember this. He gritted his teeth. This isn't over. I'll be ready anytime. After hanging up, I knew this wasn't finished. Sure enough, that very night, I was ambushed in the parking lot. 3 masked men rushed out from the darkness. Watch out. Willow's voice came from behind. She had secretly followed me out of worry. In the chaos, I shielded her, but took a few punches myself. Call the police, I shouted. The sound of sirens rang out, and the attackers fled in panic. When the police arrived, we filed a report. Any suspects? The officer asked. Makoto, I answered without hesitation, but without direct evidence, the police could do little. On the way home, Willow trembled non-stop. It's over now, I comforted her. This is all my fault, she said with guilt. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be caught up in this. Don't say that. I held her hand. Protecting you is my responsibility. Her eyes reddened. George, let's leave here. Leave? Yes, to somewhere Makoto can't find us. I shook my head. Running won't solve the problem. But, trust me, I said firmly. I'll keep you safe. The next day, an unexpected visitor arrived. Dr. Wang. I am the elder of the Ito family. Makoto's grandfather. What was he here for? Sir, I've come to apologize. The old man sighed. My unworthy grandson has done many wrongs. It turned out Mr. Ito knew everything. A tragedy for our family. He was pained. I've already sent him abroad. Abroad? Yes, to our European branch. The old man assured me. At least for the next 5 years, he won't return. Willow and I exchanged glances. This is our Ito family's apology. He slid an envelope toward me. I didn't take it. That's unnecessary. Please accept it, he insisted. Consider it compensation for your emotional suffering. In the end, under his insistence, we accepted it. Inside was a check, a considerable sum. This matter ends here, the old man said. Makoto will not trouble you again. After sending him off, both Willow and I breathed a sigh of relief. It's finally over. She leaned against me. Yes, it's over. But I knew the real ending would only come when Makoto let go of his obsession. I hoped this lesson would finally wake him up. Chapter 20. 1 year later. Director Wong, congratulations. I stood on the podium, receiving the National Science and Technology Progress Award certificate. In the audience, Willow held our 6-month-old son, her face full of pride. A lot had happened this past year. Since Makoto went to Europe, there had been no news of him. Willow had successfully resigned and opened her own law firm. I, meanwhile, continued down the path of medicine, refining the Da Vinci robotic surgery technique. Most importantly, we now had the crystallization of our love. Daddy is amazing. Willow walked over holding our child. The little one babbled, waving his tiny hands. Come, let Daddy hold you. I took my son into my arms. Looking at his smiling face, my heart was filled with happiness. By the way, Willow said, my parents are coming for dinner today. Okay, I'll go buy groceries. No need. I've already prepared everything. She smiled. You're the hero today, just rest. That evening, both families gathered together. Come, let's toast to George. Father Lou raised his glass. To our award winner, my father added. The clinking of glasses filled the room with warmth and joy. George, Willow, Mother Lou said with emotion. Seeing you two so happy now, we're relieved. Yes, my own mother agreed. Back then we worried your personalities might not match. Willow and I exchanged a smile. After everything we had been through, we had both grown. She was no longer the cold, forceful career woman, and I was no longer the insecure husband. Mom, have another bowl of soup. Willow attentively served her mother-in-law. That's enough. That's enough. My mother grinned from ear to ear. Watching this warm scene, my heart felt light and full. After dinner, we all chatted in the living room. By the way, Father Lou said, I heard the hospital is sending you to the US for an exchange. Yes, Johns Hopkins has invited me as a visiting scholar. That's wonderful, he praised. That was your dream, wasn't it? I nodded. Yes. How long this time? My mother asked with concern. 3 months. I looked at Willow. We'll go together. With the baby. She hesitated. Of course. I held her hand. A family should be together. Her eyes shimmered with emotion. All right. How wonderful, Mother Lou said with relief. Willow has finally learned to rely on others. Everyone laughed. Late at night, after the guests had left, we lay in bed, our son sleeping in his crib. George, she whispered in the dark. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on us. I pulled her into my arms. Silly girl, I should be thanking you. Why? Thank you for making me a better version of myself. She smiled, nestling comfortably in my embrace. George, I love you. I love you too. Outside, the moonlight was like water. Inside, our home was as warm as spring. Our story was still continuing, but this time, I believed it would be a complete and happy ending, because we had learned what it meant to love. Love is not possession. Love is not about changing someone. Love is understanding, supporting, and walking forward hand in hand. Just like now, ordinary, yet full of happiness. This is the most beautiful form of love.